Getting to Know You, a weekly series highlighting the teachers and staff at Salem High School. And now your host, Salem High School Principal, Tracy Collier.
Welcome back for another episode. Joining us this week is Mrs. Tasneem Mohammed. She's a math teacher here at Salem High School. So welcome, Tasneem.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Thank you. How long have you been at Salem High School?
Wow, since 2001. I actually started as a paraprofessional, but teaching, I would say, the last 10, 12 years.
Yeah. So I know when you were a para, you actually went back to school to become a math teacher. Where did you go to school?
So I obviously, stayed at home for several years, raised 3 kids, and I went back to school to Riviera University. I did my undergrad and then rolled right into a master's program and went into Harvard University and did my master's in pure and applied math.
And I know recently at a graduation, one of our graduates, our valedictorian, she spoke about how influential you were in her decision to go to Harvard, Amanda. So how did that make you feel when you heard that?
Oh my God, I was floored. I totally did not expect her to say anything, so I was really surprised. I had no idea. She'd given me a letter up front and told me to open it after graduation, so I was totally surprised. I did not see that coming, but I always tell students, to aim high, achieve high, and I have a lot of conversations in my classes about college applications, and and I remember like in that occasion, she said to me, I want to go to Harvard and be a doctor, but I'll never get in. And I was like, are you kidding me? You should apply, like you should aim high, never, and that was it. And I think like hers is such a fabulous story because it really kind of touches me at the core, because not, only like in her family, there's not many people that have been to like post-secondary education or college, and for her to get into like college or university and let alone get into Harvard, I feel like, she's totally changed her future and, the future of her family and like her, next generation. Like, I think that's such a powerful thing.
Yeah, and just to acknowledge a teacher in that way, and you just never know as an educator the impact you'll have on a student. So it's always important to be mindful of that. So
and I keep in touch with her. So I told her, I told her I want to be there at that white coat ceremony.
Oh, nice.
So I go down, I see her, I bug her. She's doing awesome.
That's fantastic.
So it's really good.
No, you live in Salem, but you're not from Salem. Where are you from?
Yeah, so I grew up in Scotland. My grandfather emigrated in 1956 from Pakistan, and my dad came over when he was 16 years old. So I'm born and raised in Scotland. So I got married there, had both of my older kids there. I moved here to the US about 22 years ago. And to Salem, so this is where I've been. But yeah, so I'm Scottish, British.
And you've really gotten involved beyond the classroom here. You're a math team advisor or co-advisor. And how long have you been doing that?
I've been doing that for 9 years.
9 years now. And you recently took up another club. What are you advisor of now?
Girls Who Code.
Girls Who Code. So tell us about that. How did that come about?
So how that happened? Well, my daughter works for a pharmaceutical company down in Boston, and she had an opportunity to go to the Simmons Leadership Conference, and she met there. She went there and she heard one of the keynote speakers, Reshma Sojani, and she's the founder of Girls Who Code, and she was totally impressed. So she came home and she's like, "Mom, this girl has opened this, platform for girls, to feel powerful, close the gender gap in technology, and I think this would be really good because you love math. I mean, you love computers, and wouldn't it be brilliant to get girls involved, and tell them that there's so many job opportunities." So, that was it. I actually over the summer then registered the club, and I didn't realized that it would show up as a location, and the school started getting phone calls, and I think guidance and the head of deans, Jeff Dennis was like, okay, we don't know any club. And a father then reached out and got my email, and he said, there's a Girls Who Code showing up in Salem, New Hampshire. So I said, yep. I didn't realize after going through the registration process, that it would actually show up as a location on their official website. But it's phenomenal. I love it. I mean, the girls are so excited.
And how many students do you have in the club right now?
Right now we have 12 girls.
Okay. And what grades are they in? All
9 through 12. We have a bunch of freshmen. Now they started it last year. That was the pilot year. Now this is our second year. We're just looking at different platforms. We've taught them some basics of programming. And we kind of wanted to see what the interest from the girls were. And so Kim and I went to a workshop over the summer, and we looked at developing apps. So that's really kind of taken off in the last couple of meetings. The girls want to develop apps and, hair, beauty and lifestyle and different things and traveling. And, so that's what we're working on this year. That's
fantastic. That's really, do you think are these girls in computer classes at Salem High School or no?
No, that was, we have excellent computer classes here, and that was one of sort of our objectives as well, because I think a lot of students are not aware of, the routes that they can take or all these options that they have. So the girls that joined last year were not aware that, they had the opportunity for these classes, and we've taken them down to robotics, and we paired up with John Seaman, and, so they've had the opportunity to see the boys working or some of the other students working, and we're hoping that we can collaborate, both of those. But I think the awareness is there now, and I'm hoping that this is something through Girls Who Code that they will take computing classes.
I think it made a difference that you were a female advisor versus a male advisor. It's interesting that they didn't go to the engineering classes. Maybe it's a more male-dominated
absolutely,
industry.
because I think, a lot of girls, and I think that there's still that stigma, boys will go into engineering and girls will go into certain fields. And I think that was really important for me, because I felt like I have such brilliant students. I have such strong female students in my honors and AP classes. And I wanted to show them that they're, way capable of doing so many things, and engineering was one field that they should definitely consider. I mean, it's on the rise. It pays well, the jobs are very flexible in corporate industry. They have the flexibility to work from home, and there's a lot of a sense of satisfaction, having an end product. So I kind of wanted to expose that to the girls, that it is not difficult. You're very creative. You bring a whole aspect to engineering, and there was a great platform, to sort of go into this field, and really sort of. And the goal is, that they have an understanding this field exists. If I'm good at math, I can definitely go into this, and this is what the job entails, and just give them a broader sort of understanding.
Well, you're a great role model. I mean, having gone to Harvard and teaching AP calculus and now Girls Who Code, I think it's good that they have you and Ms. Tecci for role models. So at Salem High School, kind of what do you want your legacy to be at in terms of teaching, and how do you want your students to remember their time in your class?
Well, I always joke with them, I always say to them, well, I want 1% of their first million, and they all kind of look at me like, seriously, and I feel like I believe in them, I want them to be successful. I want them to think that they can totally make it. I mean, I tell them that, they're so blessed. They live in an area where we have the hub of, the brilliant educational institutes. We have the medical facilities. We have the biotech pharma industry growing in Boston and Cambridge, so they should make most of those opportunities. And if they work hard, they absolutely can be successful. And so I've been saying for the last decade, I want that 1%, and you never know, one day, somebody may come back and say, here's the 1%. It's not a lot to ask. But seriously, on a side note, I want them to, remember me, that we had a Muslim teacher, she cared about us, she got excited about math, she believed in us, and she wasn't what the media portrayed her to be. I think that's important.
It is. Well, thank you for joining me. It's
Thank
been great
you.
talking with
Thank
you.
you.
And thank you, and we will see you next week.
This has been a Salem School District Media Services presentation. Watch this and all SSD media programs anytime on any device at ssdtv6.com. For Salem School District Television, I'm Marty McHugh.